Two glasses, same water, same tap, the same morning, poured at the same second. One sat in glass, the other sat in earth. Look closely, because in about 20 minutes, they stopped being the same water. One of them changed, and the change is so quiet that for 100 years, almost no one noticed it happening. Here's the part to sit with. The man who drinks the one on the right feels something the man who drinks the one on the left does not. Not a taste, something lower, something in the body. You've been reaching for the wrong glass your whole life, and no one ever told you there was a choice. You know the rule you were taught. Water is water. The cup is just a cup. Glass is clean, glass is clear, glass is modern. And what could be more honest than a vessel that adds nothing and takes nothing? That belief is the problem. Because adds nothing is not the compliment you think it is. This isn't about drinking more water. You drink enough. It's about what your water is carried in, and what that vessel quietly does, or quietly fails to do, before the water ever reaches you. Keep both glasses in your mind. We're going to watch them stop being the same. Start with the vessel. Glass is sealed, smooth, non-porous, perfectly inert. Water poured into it simply waits there, unchanged. Nothing enters, nothing leaves. That's glass's whole promise, and its whole limitation. Now the earthen pot. Run your thumb across unglazed clay and you feel it. Not smooth, but a landscape of microscopic pores. Clay is fired earth, and earth breathes. Through those pores, the water changes. A little seeps outward and evaporates. You can see it, that faint sweat of cold beads on the outside of the pot. Every drop that evaporates pulls heat with it, so the water inside cools on its own, gently, without ice. This part isn't belief. It's physics, the same reason a wet cloth cools your skin. And sitting against the fired earth, the water is traditionally said to soften, to lose its sharp acidic edge and turn rounder, cooler, almost like a spring. So the water has physically changed. One quick thing, because it decides whether videos like this get shown at all. If that 2-glass test alone made you look twice, tap the like. It tells YouTube to put this in front of other men who were never told the vessel changes the water. And while it's fresh, drop one word in the comments. Before today, what did you drink your water from? Glass, steel, or plastic? I read every one. Now, back to the two men. Because the water changing isn't what matters. What it does the moment it enters you, that's where they split. Both men drink, same volume, same morning, but their bodies don't receive the same thing. The glass water arrives neutral, untouched, doing nothing on the way down. Fine, safe, forgettable. The earth-held water arrives cool and soft, and something in the older body responds. Not dramatically, quietly, a settling. Men describe it the same way across every culture that kept this vessel. A sense of being cooled from the inside, especially in the gut, especially after a hot day or a heavy meal. I'll tell you exactly what that cooling is, and why it lands harder after 50 than it ever did at 30. But not yet. Because to understand why your body wants this, you first have to understand how you lost it. For almost all of human history, if you wanted to carry water, you carried it in earth. Not because people were primitive, because it worked. The vessel cooled the water and kept it drinkable through the hottest hours, with no ice and no electricity, for 100 generations. Then, in a single century, we let it go. Quietly. No one argued against clay. It simply got replaced by glass, steel, plastic, because those could be made by the million, stamped identical, and never crack in a crate. Notice what happened. We didn't upgrade. We standardized. We traded a vessel that did something to the water for vessels that do nothing, and called the nothing pure. For a young body, that trade costs almost nothing. For an aging one, the cost is real. Here's what should stop you. This wasn't one culture's superstition. It was nearly all of them, and they arrived at it separately, without ever speaking. In India, the earthen matka has cooled water for thousands of years, and the old physicians treated that cool clay water as medicine, used specifically to calm the body's inner heat. In Spain, the botijo, a porous jug that sweats and self-cools in the sun. In Egypt and across Africa, the pot within a pot, earth cooling earth. In Mexico, the clay olla, prized for the coolness the fired earth gave back. Different continents, different centuries, no contact. And every one of them landed on the same object, fired earth, holding water, given to the body cool. When cultures that never met all guard the same practice, that's not coincidence. That's a signal. So what were they reading? Now I can tell you. The oldest traditions didn't talk about hydration. They talked about heat, not the rooms, the heat inside the man. That hot, restless, heavy feeling. Acidity after meals. A body that runs warm and agitated. Sleep that won't cool down. Every one of these traditions had a word for it, and every one prescribed the same thing. Cool, soft, earth-held water, to bring that inner fire down. Here's the honest version of why it lands. Part is plainly physical. Genuinely cool water, sipped through the day, is a small, steady signal of calm to a body that spends most of its time slightly overheated. And after 50, the body cools itself less easily than it used to. And part is what the old physicians insisted on and modern life forgot, that how water arrives to the body is not nothing. Neutral water asks nothing and offers nothing back. Cool, earth-touched water meets an aging body where it actually is, running hot, holding tension, and gives it the one thing it's quietly asking for. That's what the man with the earthen pot feels, and the man with the glass never will. Not a cure, a cooling. The oldest one we know. Before you buy the first pot you see, two things, because I won't hand you a ritual without the guardrails. First, you don't need to believe a word of the tradition for the physics to work on you. Cool, soft water through the day is a small kindness to an overheated body, whether you call it Ayurveda or just common sense. Second, and this matters, the vessel has to be food safe. Use unglazed clay, or clay with a food-safe, lead-free glaze, from a maker who says so plainly. Cheap decorative pottery was never meant to hold what you drink, and some of it leaches exactly what you don't want. And because clay is porous, dry it fully between uses. Get those right, and it's one of the simplest, safest things you can bring into a kitchen. Choose it. One unglazed, food-safe earthen pot, big enough for a day's water. The plainer the better. Season it. A new pot is thirsty. Fill it. Let it stand a few hours. Pour that first water away. Do this once or twice. You'll know it's ready when the outside starts to sweat those cold beads. That sweat is the pot working. Drink it. Fill it in the morning. Let it cool while your day begins. Then drink from it through the afternoon and evening. The hot hours, the heavy meal hours, the hours before sleep when the body is trying and failing to cool itself down. That's it. No supplement, no chart, no discipline to fail at. One vessel, cool water. The oldest medicine, offered the way the body actually asks for it. Day 1. You notice the taste. Rounder, cooler, less like a tap. Small, but the first proof the two glasses were never the same. Day 7. The after-meal feeling shifts for most men. Less of that hot, heavy weight in the gut. Day 30. It stops being a trick and becomes a habit. You reach for the earthen pot instead of the tap. A body that runs a little cooler and settles a little easier, especially at night. Nothing dramatic, just 100-year-old trade, quietly reversed. So, the two glasses. One is sealed, neutral, modern, and does exactly nothing. The other breathes, cools, softens, and meets an aging body where it actually lives. For 100 years we called the first an upgrade. It never was. It was just easier to ship. The choice is still yours, and it costs almost nothing. One vessel of fired earth, cool water, a body cooled from the inside, the way nearly every culture before us understood it should be. If you didn't answer earlier, tell me now. Glass, steel, or plastic? What were you drinking from before today?